Another day towards Saturday. Thank you. Yeah, thankfully we're not scheduled this Saturday, so at least not what I saw, but which means this is a good Thursday because it's the day before Friday, which is the weekend. Um, yeah, I wish I could show you this moon here. My goodness, oh god, yesterday it was like a super moon and it was beautiful. You should have seen it. It looked like it took up the sky, but it's just a matter of perspective, I guess. They claim it's actually no bigger or way caught in the sky than it ever normally is. It's just a matter of how you perceive it. The moon is doing weird things. Oh yeah, I died laughing because somebody was going on about the timeless children and stuff again, and retroactively inserting doctors into the timeline. And then someone goes, "What about John Hurt?" Oh well, and well, sorry for y'all that were stuck in your house with COVID. There, yeah, it's in the. It's only about. It says here 64. I think we're going to touch about in the low 80s today, which is not bad because it was in the freaking 90s there for a while. So pretty warm summer this year. Ugh. But yeah, someone was going on about that, and then I saved this screenshot. I'm going to have to put it up later because it's on the computer at home. Of a news article that went out. I believe it was in the Times, and it was like a couple months before the Timeless Child aired. When they were trying to get volunteers to step forward, to be the previous incarnations of the Doctor for the brain of Morbius, and it's right there in the article. And yet people are still trying to claim that was all bunk and it blah 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 this. It's like, folks, Philip Hinchcliffe has stated this multiple times in multiple commentaries. Not to mention it's on the little info track for when you watch The Brain of Morbius. So I don't know why they're still grasping at straws. Yeah, the timeless child stole my dog. The timeless children, they touch my kids in funny ways. Timeless children. Ugh. The timeless children stole my car. Oh. It's still silly, all the stuff they're ranting on about. And I'm like, yeah, but what about when you've got Clara saving every incarnation of the Doctor, which, you didn't hear me going on about it, but to me it made it like, wow, so the Doctor is so freaking incompetent that one of his future companions has to come save his ass in every previous incarnation before. Also, you had Clara sitting there talking to a young Doctor, basically outlining what's going to be his mission in his life. Then you gave her a TARDIS at the end of the series, and made her basically immortal with an immortal companion, and they learn how to fly a TARDIS in 5 minutes. Yet that's okay. But anything else that Chibnall did is evil. Moffat, he can do what he wants. He can make the Zygons into a funny joke. So we could have this stupid double scene, and then also, like I said, you had the memory messer-upper. There you got your magic reset button. I'm sorry, Day of the Doctor, to me, I was like, I have to go back and rewatch that one scene because that scene with the security guard stuck in my head. The one in the Black Archive in the Tower of London. I'm like, yeah, but it's okay. Like I said, I don't hold on to it. It's a TV show, for crying the frick out loud. But okay. It's a TV show, for crying the frick out loud. It's like, move on. I can sit here and go on about stuff other showrunners have done, forever. But yeah, so that article, yeah, I thought was really neat. I was glad somebody, did a little screen copy of it. And like I said, I put it on the main computer at home, and I should have transferred it to the phone. I forgot it. Otherwise, I'd add it to the community page right now. But like I said, Chibnall did nothing more extreme. That, like, my favorite one is they've disrespected Hartnell, Hartnell, Hartnell. So they stuck Edward James Olmos in as the commander at Dama. Does that mean they disrespected Lauren Green in Battlestar Galactica? It's a good one. Yeah, the Brain of Morbius, like I said, it's a good story. It still holds up. It was kind of like their version of Frankenstein. That's why, that's the take I got on it. All right, now Chibnall, I don't think, is not going to retcon the Timeless Children. I highly doubt it. But if he did, it would be kind of like chickening out at this point. So I don't think he would do it. To me, I wouldn't have had Tech Tayun show up in the finale of Flux and all that. I'd have just left it a mystery as to what happened to Tech Tayun and all that stuff. I wouldn't have had her shown up and confirm it. That way it leaves it vague. It could always have turned out that the Master was lying, or the Master was misled. That, he assumed it was the Doctor when it wasn't. Things like that. You could have left that wide open. And that way they can't, well, then again, they'd still complain about it. So, I love how they're sitting there crucifying Chibnall for stuff, the previous showrunners already have done. Yeah. I highly doubt RTD is going to do something like that because, contrary to popular belief, him and Chibnall are friends. I don't think he'd stab him in the back like that. Trust me, I've had it done to me creatively a few times. And I know it's not in a major TV production way, but it's happened to me online. And like when I was running storylines for Never Ending Stories, and one of them I'll never forget was when I had got to run a subplot on. There was a big one over on Yahoo Groups, and that was Transformers: The Next Generation, Transformers TNG. And I ran a subplot where they found out that the previous Prime was named Exarius Prime, and of course you know where I got the name Exarius. For you Pertwee fans out there, you'll know where I got that name. And what happened is because of the way he was constructed, he was a prototype for what would later become Optimus Prime, but he had a different power structure. No, it wasn't a TV show. Like I said, it was just a never-ending story, type of deal for Yahoo Groups. And I created a storyline where this Prime had gone mad because of various things that had happened in the war. One of which he was tricked into destroying his own daughter, whom he sparked. And the worst part of it was, it wasn't his fault. It was he was given a plasma energy source that was his power source, and it did some things to his interior as well as what you call it. It had its limitations. And he came up with an idea to get rid of the Decepticons, and that was, he decided to give them a messiah. Someone who would lead them away from Cybertron, and that way future generations of the Autobots would be, not having to worry about another war, hanging over their shoulders all the time, or, lurking around the corner. And that night he sparked Megatron. He created Megatron to be the perfect leader, to gather his people and to leave Cybertron. But of course, as we all know, given the fact that his madness had tainted his spark, his desire to control things, and it went into Megatron. And that's why Megatron, despite having been secretly sparked by this prime, was already, obsessed with, the exact opposite mission, taking Cybertron. And so he felt he was responsible for the last entire war. They put him in stasis. They removed him from the Matrix. Alpha Trion, like I said, had his spark forcibly removed from the Matrix completely. So that way he wouldn't be remembered. And then somebody stumbles onto him in stasis years later and he gets awakened. But what happened was, the reason why I'm telling you about all this is later on, the person who was running the thing was getting bull crap from some guys at BotCon, apparently. And at least that's the story as I understand it. They were throwing a fit over this, even though it was a never-ending story. It wasn't an actual television script. It wasn't a movie. So he tried to retroactively change it so that the Megatron that my character sparked wasn't the real one. And then wonders why I did. I went off in public on the main chat. Sorry, I'm an old school Transformers guy. Like I said, I never got into any of the later incarnations that came later. I like I said, to me it was like so I'm a classic, storyline. I think Bay did an excellent job with the movies, by the way. I couldn't have asked for better. So, also, I threw in a lot more things like, why nobody was doing anything while Autobot City is getting pummeled. And it's like, yeah, there was a lot of them up there on the moon, but also the attack, Megatron's bit with the shuttle was just the spearhead for a larger attack. It also explains why, where's all the rest of the big combiners? All you sent in was Devastator. No, what happened was I had it so there were multiple attacks on multiple fronts across the planet. And also, someone kept asking me, well, why don't they just nuke the planet? Why don't they just do that? And that's why when I did Transformers The Fall of Night, which took place in the year 2172, another fella had been sitting watching the war and finally just said, screw this. Especially after Galvatron went mad. He said, screw this. And he showed up with a clone army. I wonder where they got that idea from. Of sweeps, and his own form of sweep. That numbering somewhere well over 2 million. He walked into the solar system. First thing he did was he bombed Earth to the Stone Age. Not completely, because he wanted the population around to make an example. And then he took Cybertron in like 2 days. That was Exatron. And like I said, that's a whole other story. Like I said, I could go on for hours on that one. But just to give you an example, I've had people do that to me before. And like I said, it's not cool. Trying to save face by stumbling on, stamping on your shit. And it's happened to me, so I know what it's like. But like I said, I don't think RTD will do it. Well, folks, I got to get going, folks. It is time to go in. So please take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good morning. Have a good day. Be kind, be calm, be safe. Above everything else, please remember to be kind today. And hopefully we'll see you all in the future. Take care, everyone.